Good evening and namaskara. It's a big pleasure and a big honor for me to be here tonight and to talk to you a little bit about Switzerland. But first of all, let me thank you. Let me thank FKCCI for hosting this event and for inviting me to give a short talk. But let me also congratulate you. I came here about 1.5 years ago, and FKCCI was one of the first organizations that I had the pleasure to interact with. So, and I continue to see the many different programs and initiatives that you're running. So congratulations to all of you for a very active chapter here in Bangalore. Let me first ask you, who has been to Switzerland already? Okay, so about half. Who's planning to go to Switzerland soon? Okay, very nice. So you should all come to me and we can have a chat about where you should go. In fact, when you speak to my colleagues at the Swiss Embassy in Delhi who are processing the visa request, they're right now having a very high season, and I think probably in France it's the same thing. So they're processing 2,000 visa requests a day. And that has been actually increasing for now 5, 6, 7 years, where the increase has been 20 to 30% every year. And in fact, the visa section of the Swiss Embassy in Delhi by now is the largest visa section of the Swiss government abroad. So, as I was just talking to Gitesh a while ago, that is actually an indicator of the dynamic economy of India really reaching out, and also reaching out to Switzerland. And so if we could have the presentation. Yeah. So maybe I want to speak to you tonight why reaching out to Switzerland, two countries which in many respects are quite different just if you look at the size. And so I would like to give you actually 3 core messages, key messages to take away tonight. But to start with, let me start to put things into perspective. So here you have on the left Switzerland, and on the right you have Karnataka. So if you look just at the surface, actually, Karnataka alone is more than 4 times bigger than Switzerland. And then if you look at the population, it's even more than 7 times more people here in Karnataka than in Switzerland. I was just looking at the different exports. We are known for chocolate. I mean, there are many other export items, but we export about 115,000 tons of chocolate every year. And I believe if you look at Karnataka, you have about 10,000 tons of mangoes going out every year. So maybe to put things a little bit in perspective. But my first key message actually is related to this chart, and I'm sure some of you have already seen it by now. At least you have seen it, Gitesh. So my question to you, what do you think, what correlation do you see here on this graph? Any ideas? Please just shout. Okay, so on the top right you see Switzerland, the different flags. So you have Switzerland on the top right, Sweden there, Germany, Brazil, Spain. So different flags. So basically what you see here is the number of Nobel Prizes awarded per capita versus the chocolate consumption a year. So that actually was published in a very serious medical journal, in fact, so it's a serious study. But I think, of course, it's a bit of a joke. So basically, the more chocolate you eat, the more Nobel Prizes you can get. My point here is to say that actually what everyone knows about Switzerland is that we are very good in chocolate. We have excellent tasty chocolate. I think what's less well known is the fact that we also actually have very good science and innovation happening in Switzerland. So when we look at that, and there are different rankings, many different rankings, of course we're going to show you the ranking where Switzerland is on the top. So that's the European Innovation Scoreboard, which is one indicator of sort of the level of innovation that different countries are having. And the reason is why is Switzerland a leader in innovation? There are different answers to that. One, of course, one indicator, one among many, is the investments into research and development. And so if you look, Switzerland is in the 4th place with about 3.4% of investment of GDP into research and development. If you look at startup ecosystem. Again, there have been different rankings. This has been the Global Entrepreneurship Monitoring report. So you see like the closeness between the universities and the ecosystem. So R&D transfer, you look at more like the framework conditions, taxes, bureaucracy, but then also like things like entrepreneurial training, where actually Switzerland is doing fairly well. Another aspect, as I mentioned, are our universities. We have 12 universities, academic PhD granting universities in Switzerland. Out of those 12, 9 are ranking in the top 200 universities in the world. So it's like a really excellent education that we're offering, education which is also quite affordable for most people, and universities that are very close to industry. So my first message here, like Switzerland is more than chocolate. We are really also about innovation and science. Message number 2 is related to this slide here. So let's assume you want to go, you plan to travel to Switzerland. You want to go to Switzerland because you want to visit maybe the Disney Research Lab, the only R&D lab of Disney outside of the US. They are based in Zurich, very close to ETH Zurich, which is one of the leading engineering universities in Europe. So let's say you want to go there, and of course what you do is like you take the car, you go to the airport. You eventually will have to show your passport. They might take a picture of you, and the next time they take a picture of you, have a look at the camera. This camera will most likely be a camera from Logitech, which is a spin-off of a Swiss university based in Lausanne and now a global company. Let's assume then once you've taken a picture, you passed the passport control, you make it into the airplane in time, you'll sit down on one of those seats. There's a 50% likelihood that you'll be sitting on a textile which was produced in Switzerland. Landtal actually is a small and medium enterprise very close to Bern, in the countryside, really a very random place, but they're highly international. 95% of all the products are being exported. In fact, they're very much specialized on the transportation industry. So they actually have specialized themselves on airplanes, on trains, and other transports. And so 50% of all airplanes have their textile. Let's then assume that you're flying to Zurich, and on the way to Zurich, your airplane will have a small technical problem. And your airplane is about to crash. You're landing fine, but there will be emergency exit. You'll have to go through the emergency exit, and then probably you'll be landing on one of those slides here, which was produced with the help of Leister Technologies, which is like plastic welding machines. So after that, eventually you will make it to the Disney Research Labs. So what I'm trying to show you here, like even just from here, Bangalore to Switzerland, you will meet many different Swiss innovations on the way there. And this is because Switzerland is a highly international or internationalized country. Every second Swiss franc that we are earning is earned abroad. So about 65% of the GDP is earned through exports. Also, like when we look at cooperation in innovation or in science, so 40% of all patent applications are with international partners, and 80% of all scientific co-authored articles are done so with international partners. So Switzerland, of course, being a small country, we are really forced to go international, to collaborate internationally. On the other hand, we also have a lot of incoming companies, so I have about 850 international companies which set up their international headquarters in Switzerland. So my second message here for you to take away tonight is that Switzerland is not only innovative, but you're also highly international and very much export-oriented, from the startup to the small, medium enterprise, which has a very niche product, all the way up to, of course, the multinational companies, which we all know. Here in Bangalore, we have companies such as ABB. They have actually one of their key R&D centers here in Bangalore, or Swiss Re, again, also one of the technology centers here in Bangalore. My third message, I hope you can see it. The red dot you see in the middle, obviously Switzerland. In the middle of Europe, So Switzerland is not a member of the European Union, but we have very close agreements which actually allow free movement of persons, of capital, goods, and services, of course. As you may know, Geneva is hosting many of the international companies and actually more importantly international organizations such as the UN, WTO, WHO, health organization, trade organizations. So there's really a hub for the international community in Switzerland. So Geneva when it comes to international governance, but even if you look at Zurich or Basel when it comes to, for example, life sciences or the finance sector. So my third message here is that Switzerland is, in many respects, a gateway to Europe. We are within, basically in the middle geographically of this continent, within a couple of hours in Paris, in London, Rome, or Vienna. So in many ways a place actually to enter the European market. So it has been mentioned before, I'm the Consul General, but also I'm heading, more importantly, Swissnex. May I just ask, who has heard of Swissnex before coming here tonight? Okay, a couple of people. So I have to do some more mentioning. So Swissnex actually is an initiative of the Swiss government to connect Switzerland with the leading innovation hubs in the world. So there are 5 Swissnex locations. Besides Bangalore, we have one in San Francisco, in Boston, in Shanghai, and Rio de Janeiro. And so the idea is really to facilitate collaboration, exchanges in the area of education, research, and innovation. So we are working a lot with startups, we're working a lot with universities, and with also innovative companies. To give you an example, actually, as we speak, so next week, I'll be taking a delegation on blockchain to Switzerland to introduce them to the Swiss blockchain landscape, to make connections. In early June, we're expecting here in Bangalore a delegation group on e-mobility. We'll be doing together an event with the government of Karnataka. So these are the different ways that we're trying to connect the dots between India and Switzerland. So we're based in Bangalore, but cover all of India. So we bring context, we make connections, facilitate collaborations, and then all around that we create some visibility. That's our team, so a fairly young team, 20 people. We are very close to Church Street, have many events going on, so I will invite you to come and visit our website, sign up for our newsletters, of course, to see what's happening here at Swissnex, or connect on LinkedIn, and that's maybe another platform to connect. So I think with that, I'd like to thank you again for your attention. Thank you for inviting me here tonight, and have a very good evening.